The evening sky glowed with shades of orange and pink as people hurried through. The busy streets of Maplewood City, car horns echoed in the distance, children laughed near the sidewalks, and soft music drifted from nearby cafes, making the city feel alive. In the middle of all that noise stood a small apartment building where 17-year-old Lily sat quietly beside her bedroom window, watching dark rain clouds gather in the sky. The next day was her birthday. Most teenagers waited excitedly for their birthdays, but for Lily, birthdays often brought sadness instead of joy. Her father had passed away when she was only 10 years old. After that, her mother Emma worked day and night at a bakery to pay the rent and school fees. There was never enough money for large parties, expensive gifts, or beautiful decorations. Still, Lily never complained. She understood her mother's sacrifices better than anyone. That evening, Emma entered the room carrying 2 cups of hot chocolate. "Lost in your thoughts again?" she asked gently. Lily gave a small smile. "Just tired." Emma sat beside her and softly brushed her fingers through Lily's hair. "I know birthdays are hard for you," she said quietly, "but I promise tomorrow will be special." "You already do too much, Mom." Emma looked carefully at her daughter. "You miss your dad the most on your birthday, don't you?" Lily lowered her eyes without answering. Her father had loved birthdays more than anyone. Every year, he decorated their tiny home with colorful stars and balloons. He danced in silly ways just to make Lily laugh. Even after all these years, those memories still lived deep inside her heart. Emma wrapped her arms around her. "Your dad would want you to smile tomorrow." The next morning, Lily got ready for school early. She expected the day to pass like any other ordinary day. But as soon as she entered the classroom, her best friend, Sophie, suddenly jumped out from behind the door and shouted loudly, "Happy birthday!" The entire class burst into applause. Lily's cheeks turned red with embarrassment. Their teacher, Mrs. Green, smiled warmly. 17 only comes once. Sophie handed Lily a small gift box. Inside was a beautiful silver bracelet with a tiny moon charm attached to it. "It's beautiful," Lily whispered. Sophie grinned. "You always look at the moon. Whenever you feel sad, now you can carry it with you all the time." Lily's eyes filled with tears. Sometimes the smallest gifts brought the biggest happiness. During lunch break, Sophie excitedly told Lily that her parents wanted to arrange a birthday party for her that evening. "It's going to be amazing," Sophie said. "Lights, music, cake, games, everything." Lily immediately shook her head. "No, there's no need for a party." "Why not?" "You know, Mom can't afford something like that, or..." Sophie rolled her eyes dramatically. "Who said your mom has to pay? My parents are helping." Lily felt uncomfortable. She never liked feeling like a burden to anyone. "I don't want charity." Sophie's expression softened. "It's not charity, it's love." Those words stayed in Lily's mind for the rest of the day. When school ended, heavy rain began pouring from the sky. Lily walked home slowly under her umbrella. By the time she reached the apartment building, she noticed something strange. All the hallway lights were off. Everything was dark. A nervous feeling crept into her chest. "Mom," she called while opening the apartment door. No answer came. The apartment was completely silent. Then suddenly, surprise! Every light turned on at once. Colorful balloons filled the room. Golden ribbons hung from the ceiling. A huge chocolate cake sat on the table surrounded by glowing candles. Music played loudly while people clapped and cheered. Lily froze in shock. Her mother stood beside the cake smiling warmly while Sophie and several classmates waved excitedly. "Oh my God," Lily whispered as tears instantly filled her eyes. Emma stepped forward. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Lily looked around the room in disbelief. Their tiny apartment had transformed into something magical. Fairy lights sparkled across the walls like stars in childhood. Photographs were carefully placed everywhere. "You did all this?" Lily asked. Emma smiled. "Your friends helped." Sophie immediately interrupted. "Mostly me." Everyone laughed. For the first time in many years, Lily truly felt happy on her birthday. The party soon became lively. Music filled the apartment while everyone danced, laughed, and took pictures together. Emma served pastries she had brought from the bakery. "This is unbelievable," Lily said to Sophie. "I told you birthdays are special." While talking, Lily noticed a boy standing quietly near the balcony. He wore a blue jacket and seemed different from everyone else. "Who's that?" Lily asked softly. Sophie smiled mischievously. "That's Daniel, my cousin." Daniel walked toward them. "Happy birthday." "Thank you. I've heard a lot about you today." Lily laughed lightly. "I hope good things." Mostly. Daniel was calm, polite, and surprisingly easy to talk to. Unlike the others, he listened. carefully whenever Lily spoke. A little later, everyone moved toward the dance floor area. Sophie grabbed Lily's hand. "You're not escaping tonight." Lily burst into laughter and joined. Everyone dancing, even Emma, danced for a few minutes, making the whole room cheer loudly. Hours passed quickly. Finally, it was time for the cake. The lights dimmed, while the candles flickered beautifully in the darkness. Everyone began singing together. "Happy birthday to you." Lily closed her eyes and made a silent wish. "I want this happiness to stay forever." The room exploded with applause as she cut the cake. But just as she turned to give the first slice to her mother, someone knocked loudly at the door. The room suddenly became silent. Emma slowly walked toward the entrance and opened the door. An elderly man stood outside holding a small wrapped package. Lily's eyes widened in shock. It was her grandfather. No one had seen him for 7 years. After Lily's father died, misunderstandings had torn the family apart and her grandfather disappeared from their lives completely. Even Emma looked speechless. The old man's eyes were filled with regret. "I know I'm very late." The apartment fell into deep silence. Then Lily whispered softly, "Grandpa." His voice trembled. "Happy birthday, Lily." The entire atmosphere changed instantly. Emma quietly stepped aside and allowed him to enter. He slowly handed Lily the package. Inside was an old photo album. Lily opened it carefully. Every page contained pictures of her father, his childhood school days, birthdays, family gatherings, and countless happy memories. Lily's hands began shaking. "I thought these pictures were lost forever," Emma said emotionally. Her grandfather lowered his head. "I kept them with me after my son died. I broke apart inside. I became angry at life and I couldn't face any of you." Then he looked directly at Lily. "But today I realized life is too short to lose your family." Without thinking, Lily stepped forward and hugged him tightly. Her grandfather began crying. Several people in the room wiped tears from their eyes. Even Sophie sniffed dramatically and said, "Okay now, I'm going to cry too." Everyone laughed through their tears. The party continued, but now everything felt even warmer than before. The small apartment no longer felt empty. It felt full of love, forgiveness, and family. Late at night, guests slowly began leaving. Sophie hugged Lily tightly. "Best birthday ever." Lily smiled brightly. "The best." As Daniel walked toward the door, he smiled and said, "Maybe next year's party will be even bigger." Lily laughed softly. "We'll see." Soon, only Lily, her mother, and her grandfather remained. The rain had stopped outside and thousands of stars sparkled across the night sky. Emma sat beside Lily quietly. "Your father used to say something," she whispered. "What was it?" "Birthdays are not just about getting older. They are reminders of how many people still love you." Lily looked around the room. The half-eaten cake scattered, balloons glowing fairy lights, and the smiling faces of her family. For years she believed birthdays only reminded her of pain. But tonight she discovered something different. Birthdays could heal broken hearts. They could bring families back together. They could return happiness that once seemed lost forever. Later that night, Lily stepped alone onto the balcony. The sky was clear now. The stars shined brightly above her. She touched the moon bracelet on her wrist and smiled softly. For the first time in many years, she no longer felt alone. Inside the apartment, she could hear her mother and grandfather laughing together. Lily looked up at the stars and whispered gently, "Thank you, Dad." A soft breeze touched her face, almost like a silent answer from the heavens. And in that moment, Lily realized something important. This birthday was not just a celebration. It was the beginning of a new life. A life filled with hope, love, forgiveness, and family. One birthday had truly changed everything.